Word of the Week for Sunday, July 20th, the best part. Jesus entered a village where a woman whose name was Martha welcomed him. She had a sister named Mary who sat beside the Lord at his feet, listening to him speak. Martha, burdened with much serving, came to him and said, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me by myself to do the serving? Tell her to help me." The Lord said to her in reply, "Martha, Martha, you are anxious and worried about many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, and it will not be taken from her." From Luke chapter 10, verses 38 through 42. Reflection. At face value, this gospel passage seems to emphasize the primacy of contemplation over action. Jesus' words might sound like a rebuke to Martha, who somehow has not chosen the better part, the one thing necessary for a disciple on the way of the heart. But is Jesus really saying that being still, that listening in the presence of God is more highly valued than labor and service in the world? Notice that it is actually Martha who has welcomed Jesus into the household. And when she speaks to him amidst her worries, she doesn't sugarcoat her irritation. She is honest in her expression. In his reply to her, Jesus gently acknowledges her experience and her feelings. His mention of the one needed thing is definitely in contrast to the many things that are spurring Martha's anxiety. But his response could also be seen as a compassionate beckoning to a different approach to service. As Jesus says in Matthew 11:28, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Those who labor also need rest and service without interludes of stillness, sustenance, and spiritual refreshment devolves into burdensome, distracted activity, preoccupation that blocks heart and presence. In chapter 31 of The Way of Perfection, Teresa of Avila offers a holistic perspective on this snapshot in the lives of Mary and Martha, recognizing that contemplation and action are mutually necessary for a complete spiritual life. Quote, "The experience of peace in the divine presence unites the active life with the contemplative. At such times, they serve the Lord in both these ways at once. Thus, Mary and Martha work together." End quote. This integrative view on Mary and Martha points to what we might call the best part: contemplative service, heart-centered action. Meditations. The first meditation is from Thomas Keating, The Mystery of Christ. The quality of one's service does not come from the activity itself, but from the purity of one's intention. The single eye of the gospel is the eye of love, which is the desire to please God in all our actions, whatever these may be. Purity of intention developed through contemplation brings to action the quality of love. Without contemplative prayer, action easily becomes mechanical, routine, draining, and may lead to burnout. At the very least, it fails to perceive the gold mine that ordinary life contains. Daily life is practice number one for a Christian, but it can cease to be a practice without the discipline of centering prayer. The contemplative dimension of the gospel perceives in daily life the treasures of holiness hidden in the most trivial and mundane events. The second meditation is from Virginia Herber's Gifts from Friends We Never Wanted. I am often standing burdened with Martha, hands on hips, imploring God to dispense divine justice to all those sitting on their duffs while I'm busy tending to all that needs to be done. What, quote, needs to be done seems so clear, so obvious, and I am confounded by those who are not responding. I can easily identify with the needs of the given situation, and I just as easily respond with the quickness of activity and worry. Then I hear God's response, Virginia, Virginia, you are anxious and worried about so many things. There is need of only one thing. Only one thing. The dozens of things that, quote, need to be done do indeed need to be done, granted, but has my worry and anxiety over them blinded me to the presence of God right in my midst? I stand with my mouth agape, and it starts to dawn on me. Oh, yeah, I'm missing the point. In that moment, I am invited, by God or by Martha, I'm not sure who, to close my mouth, take off the apron, put down the accusation, and be in God's presence. Notice, listen, revere. And the third meditation is from Otto, Contemplatives in Action, from IgnatianSpirituality.com. Contemplation allows us to renew our active lives, work, play, relationships, so that all we do does not become mindless action, but rather glorifies God. Then the cycle repeats. Your activity leads you again into a time of stopping, resting, reflecting, and then returning to activity with greater zeal and purpose. Being a contemplative in action means that your active life feeds your contemplative life, and your contemplative life informs your active life. That is what contemplation and action means, and the cycle never ends.
Practices. Practice 1. Prayerfully reread or listen to these passages again in the manner of Lectio Divina, perhaps reading them aloud to engage more of your senses and feel the vibrations in your body. Gaze at the image. What do you receive for your journey now? Practice 2. In a 2016 conversation with Bob Mishke, Thomas Keating asserted that if you do centering prayer and don't bring it into active life, like the active prayer phrase, the welcoming prayer, and guard of the heart, you will have trouble. Mishke was particularly interested in hearing more from Keating about the guard of the heart practice, a prayer that assists with watchfulness, remaining in God's presence in the midst of ordinary daily activity or during times of emotional upheaval. To learn more about this powerful complement to centering prayer, read Mishke's enlightening article, Guard of the Heart, available in the link in today's email. Practice 3. Do you find it difficult to set aside time for silence, rest, and spiritual nourishment? If your answer is yes, take a moment to invite Christ into your home, as Martha did, and share your worries and frustrations with the compassionate listener. Gently inquire into why there seems to be little time to be still and know God in your life. Are there activities or obligations that could be let go of to make more room for silence and spirit? Invite the Holy One to reveal creative ways to carve out space for rituals of rest in your life. Some further notes. You may listen to today's recording, available in the link in today's email. The team invites comments and suggestions by replying to today's email. You may post reflections in the community forum or prayer requests. Remember that if you click on the subscribe link on the right-hand side of a thread, you'll receive email notifications when someone posts a comment or prayer request. There are 2 Word of the Week prayer chapels offered to support your journey. The first on Tuesdays, 8 to 9 a.m. Central Time. The second on Wednesdays, 5 to 6 p.m. Central Time. If participation in these 2 prayer chapels doesn't work for your schedule, you might be interested to explore opportunities to practice with others via the Meditation Chapel. You'll find a link in today's email.